What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing fantastically well today. This is Raphael Garcia here for episode number 73 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Today is technically Saturday, October 17th, and I want to thank you for taking the time to check out our show today. As always, I appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen to our content whenever you listen to it, either right when the show drops, a week later, whenever that may be. I really appreciate anyone who does so. As always, I'm Rafael Garcia. You can catch me at rrgarcia underscore sports for all of our content. You can start first and foremost over at the flagship at MMAratings.net, where you can see all of our written work by myself, Shawan Humes, Adam Martin, and other individuals that are part of our network. You can catch all of our content over on various streaming platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and Breaker. If you want to hit us up on social media, MMA Ratings Net on both Instagram and Twitter. And I think I've already said it, but if I did not, I can be found at rgarcia underscore sports. But as always, we appreciate you taking the time to check out this show. We have quite a bit to talk about on the 73rd episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I remember when I started this joint, I'm guessing last year, I was not sure if I was going to be as committed to it, but we're almost at 100 episodes. We're almost hitting over that century mark. So let's keep on going. Our content has really been picking up for a lot of people lately. So I really appreciate everyone taking the time to check us out. Today we'll be talking about G1 Climax. We are nearing the climax of the G1 Climax. So we'll be talking about that. Tonight we are talking about the WWE Draft and the fallout from that, which I am not happy with at all. We'll be talking AEW for a bit, and also the PWI 100 for the women, which came out this week, is a very interesting list. So I'm looking forward to talking about that as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, and let's start with G1 Climax. This has probably been what I've been talking about first for majority of past few weeks. But yeah, Kota Ibushi wins Block A. I believe we are a couple of hours away from learning who wins Block B. I will find out tomorrow morning. But this is Kota's third time winning his block, third time straight winning his block, and I really do believe that this is the year that they strap him up. There's not Kota Ibushi's a star, especially when you look at New Japan. He has the ability to be someone. He's not young, but he has the ability to be someone that they can highlight as the champion. Let me hop in here to Wikipedia really quickly because I am not sure how old Kota Ibushi is. I think he's 33. He's 38 actually, so he's not young at all. However, he's a star. He is a star, and I believe this is time for them to strap him up and put that IWGP Championship on him. Naito is still the double champion right now. I don't know if they have to go a route where Ibushi takes both belts. I would like to see him. I would like to see someone else with the Intercontinental title. I've never been a fan of one champion having both titles, especially for as long as Naito has held both. He's done better than Keith Lee did when Keith Lee dropped, but that's another conversation for another day. But I would like to see Ibushi pick up the win at Wrestle Kingdom, or pick up the win first in the G1 Climax Finals, pick up the win at Wrestle Kingdom, and where that goal. I intend on watching more of New Japan over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years. And I think Ibushi is definitely someone that will get me to watch. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him until the Cruiserweight Classic from a couple of years ago, and that's really what put me on to him. And ever since then, I've been a fan of his style. I've been a fan of the way he works. So I am down for him getting that belt around his waist. But like I said, he has won Block A for the third year in a row. Will Ospreay, he turned heel. Bea Priestley came back, and they are starting a new stable. I don't know who the other guy was that he was with. I'm not too sure who that Japanese individual is. I will look into that. But well, Osprey's a heel now. I know a lot of people are upset with Osprey. I know we're not supposed to like Osprey as much because of what he did. I get it. Same thing with Bea Priestley as well. But he's still getting booked and he's still having great matches. So we have to at some point, we have to kind of look at that as well too. But he's doing the damn thing, and I'm not too interested in seeing what the stable will do, but it is what it is. He's getting some shine there. I am interested in Jay White though, because Jay White is hinting at a fracturing. Let me try that again. Jay White is hinting at a fracture within the Bullet Club, and I know there's money in Jay White as a babyface. Everyone around knows that there's money in Jay White as a babyface. You know it's going to happen at some point in time. I just wonder what that's going to look like when he does get that babyface push. I don't want to see him anywhere else. We always get those, he should go to so and so, he should go to so and so conversations, but I don't think he needs to go anywhere else. I think he's good where he is. And I am glad that he has had an extended run in New Japan. I don't like how his first title run went. It felt rushed just because they were trying to get the belt on someone after Kenny Omega left. But it was it was still something that happened. So you have to kind of acknowledge that. So let's see what that looks like for the future for him. But I believe there definitely is going to be a fracture within the Bullet Club, and we'll have to see what that looks like at a later point. But he's been having great matches in the G1, and I thought he was going to win this block. I thought he was going to win this block, but that did not happen. Um, that did not happen at all, but he got the win there, and excuse me, he did not get the win. He's actually eliminated now, but I was kind of anticipating him on winning the block, especially after that match with Ibushi, but we all know how that kind of played out. Naito, Evil, and Sonata are all in the position to are in the position to win Block B. So let's see what that looks like tomorrow morning. Like I said, we're a couple hours away from that match. I think Naito's going to win it. I know a lot of other people are saying that it's never happened, but B, there's no reason for him to win. I don't care about Evil or Sonata at this point. Not at all. So why shouldn't Naito win and be the first one to do it and set the stage by calling someone out? I I I believe he wins Block B, but then loses to Kota Ibushi, setting up the Wrestle Kingdom match where Ibushi's not going to come in for your titles. That's what I would like to see. I don't think there's any reason to not do it. Evil and Sonata are both major meh to me, but kind of let's see how that plays out. But I've really enjoyed watching this format, and this has been a great way to get me interested in uh, New Japan content. It's really been getting me interested in their content. I think that it is fantastic that this tournament was able to be pulled off this year with COVID-19 running rampant. That really kind of put a stop to all major wrestling going on. But they found a way to get it back. They've been having fans since June of this year, and watching G1 with their fans has been really enjoyable to me. This makes me want to watch more of their content. As I said, I do intend on watching more of it year after year from today going forward. Wrestle Kingdom is in a couple months, 3 months basically, New Year's weekend. I think I'll be back in the country, knock on wood, to catch that, but I'm going to do the best I can to stay up and watch that whole show. It's going to be crazy and it'll be a good time. So I'll probably be live tweeting that just like everyone else does when Wrestle Kingdom comes around. I'm not sure if it's going to be 2 nights again. Probably not with everything going on, but we'll see. So let's turn our attention to AEW. We'll be talking about that for a little bit today. And as I was working on the agenda for today's show, I was thinking to myself, I know I complain about AEW a lot, especially if you follow me on social media or if you listen to this show. And first and foremost, you always want to see competitors perform well. You want to see them succeed. Imagine if we lived in a world where there was only one book to read, one comic book to read, one video game to play, one television show to watch. It would suck. So when it comes to professional wrestling, you never want to live in a space where there's just one organization performing well. Obviously, it sucks for the people who are a part of the industry. They don't want to be a part of that life. But as viewers, you also don't want to live in a world where there's only one option. So I'm glad that AEW has succeeded. They had their year-long anniversary show this week. Their first show was last year. I think it was on the second, either the second or the ninth. I remember going. I'm not sure what day it was, but whenever they come back to DC, I'm going to support them there. But I just do not like their shows too much. Like I sat down, I watched AEW Dark for the first time in maybe like 2 weeks this weekend or this week on Tuesday. And I found myself skipping through as much of it. I didn't even really finish the whole thing because why is it 14 plus matches? It makes me think of the UFC events where there's 13, 14 fights on a card, and you're like, this card does not need to be this long. If you shaved 3 fights off, it would be much better, much more precise, much more enjoyable to watch. One thing about the G1 shows, they're a 2.5 hour show, and it's one after the other. You know you're getting some bangers, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. AEW Dark just hasn't been doing it for me these last couple of weeks. I'm going to continue flipping through because I want to see who they have on it, who are they featuring, because that's where they bring in their newer talent. The Red Velvet, she was on the show this week. I'm interested in seeing what she looks like in the future. Ricky Starks has been on it a couple times. Matt Sydal's been on there a couple times lately. So I want to see what that continues to look like. But I have not been enjoying their shows these last few weeks. And that's just AEW Dark. Dynamite, same. They have great moments. They have great matches more often than not. Like the dog collar match from last week, the parking lot brawl from maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before that. They have great matches all the time, but it doesn't make me want to. I don't want to watch all of the other stuff. I don't care about so much of that show that it makes me not want to watch it. Like I've always said, week in and week out, there are people who will make me turn the channel to AEW every single week. But there's people that I don't want to see as well on that platform. Same thing with WWE, but I just am having a harder time getting behind it. Let's talk about their tournament draw for a shot at the heavyweight title. And this draw, I'm like, making the Michael Scott face, like, I'm not sure about this. Okay, we get Penta and Ray Phoenix in the first round. Okay, everybody can be excited about that. I'm, for one, am a little bit tired of Penta and his shtick, but Ray Phoenix is one of those guys that will make me always turn to see what the hell he's going to do, what the hell he's going to jump off of and do a triple sow cow like that ESPN commercial from back in the day. So he's going to, he's going to rock and roll. But they have Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. Kenny Omega's clearly winning that. Jungle Boy versus Wardlow. I think Jungle Boy wins that. And I think he faces Adam Page in the next round. This is almost too it's too predictable for Adam Page and Kenny Omega to end up in the final. With the finals at Full Gear on November 7th. It's too predictable. Something has to happen. I would not be surprised if we got Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy in the finals with either the Bucks costing Hangman the shot because he cost them the shot, but I'm expecting Cody or Kenny and Jungle to make it to the finals. But this draw, why the fuck is Colt Cabana in this? Why is Joey Janela in this? Why is Wardlow in this? They could have given us Scorpio Sky versus Kenny Omega. Sign me up for that. Jungle Boy versus Brian Cage. Yup. Ricky Starks. Yup. They could have put Will Hobbs in this. Will Hobbs and Adam Page. Okay. But no, this is what we got. And they could have gave us some. Man, look, I'm just not a fan of the booking here. So let's see what happens. But I am thinking we're going to get Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy in the finals at Full Gear, with the Young Bucks costing Adam Page his shot. Sheeta versus Big Swole. They had a match this week. They didn't get a lot of time. I think they got under 9 minutes. And Sheeta, Sheeta's been rocking and rolling. I actually wrote a piece about her this week. I'm going to talk about that later when I talk about the PWI 500. But she's been rocking and rolling. I wish we got a longer program for these two women rather than them just getting an 8-minute match and that being the end of that. Miro, also known as Rusev, was on this show, and people are pissed about the way he's being presented. He's being presented as a Twitch star. They talk about Twitch every time they mention Miro, and again, I'm making a Michael Scott cringe face. I don't know. Like, we know Rusev was over. We know he would be over with this crowd, but is the presentation they're giving us what they is the presentation they are giving us what people want to see of Miro? My opinion, it sounds like it's not right now. They may want to fix that because they don't want to have to sign him and botch this. WWE doesn't get a lot of rope. AEW gets a lot of rope with their fans and with fans in general. Give it time, give it time, give it time. Give this Miro thing time. But right now, it does not look like it's headed in a good direction to me. Cody versus Orange Cassidy. So they're doing it again at Full Gear in November. I don't know if Cassidy's the guy to take the belt off of Cody. Maybe this is how we're going to start getting the Cody heel turn a little bit more around that corner. Orange Cassidy isn't the guy who should be wrestling every week. Jonathan Snowden talked about that on Twitter, where he was saying he should be an attraction, and I agree with that. I don't think he should be someone that has matches every single week, because the luster that he has will go away. One of my favorite AEW moments this year is subtle, super subtle, but it was when he was in the ladder match and he was like, "How do you win this thing?" And they were like, "You got to climb the ladder." He's like, "Oh, that is perfect for me." So like I don't know if they are going to continue to push him the way that they do, having him wrestle every single week, every single pay-per-view. Keep him off a little bit. Pump your brakes. I know they want to get this guy super over, but pump your brakes. Like I said, I had a friend who I tweeted out a picture of Orange Cassidy, and I was like, yeah, he stole my friend's gimmick. That's all he needed to see, because now he's a fan of Orange Cassidy. There are someone else who I was watching a conversation on Twitter, and somebody was talking about Orange, who was this wrestler? Who was this wrestler? I thought they were gonna post a picture of Roman Reigns, and they threw up a picture of Orange. So I'm like, yo, he's getting there. People are watching, people are interested, but don't burn the candle so quickly. Keep this guy off of television a little bit, because I think that they're presenting him way too much too often. We get Full Gear on November 7th, and I intend on watching that show. I purchased every AEW pay-per-view. I'm not going to skimp them on their pay-per-view buy, at least not for me. But right now, I don't see anything on this card that makes me interested. How many weeks do they have? Today's the 17th. They have they have 3 weeks from today. 3 shows from today, not including Dark, not including their YouTube content. So let's see if they are willing to, or if they're able to get me excited about this. I am going to pay them their money to make sure I can see this pay-per-view. Like I said, I'm not going to skimp them on anything. But right now, I'm not too sure about this. Eddie Kingston, actually, I forgot to include this on the agenda item, but it looks like Eddie Kingston is back up for Jon Moxley. That is something I will get interested in, because I am a Eddie Kingston fan. I think the he is the best free agent signing that they've picked up this month or like this cycle during the COVID times. I know that they've already had one match where he lost, but listen, sign me up. I am a Eddie Kingston guy through and through, and I'm here to see him go up against Jon Moxley again. I don't think he wins. I wouldn't be mad at a Eddie Kingston title run, whether it be brief or whatever. Do I think they're going to do it? I don't know, man. There's so many questions about who is where on the AEW pecking order. So that's another conversation for another day. That could be a whole show. But I would love to see a situation where Eddie Kingston wins and off of um takes the title off of Moxley. So we're gonna turn into WWE content, talk the draft a little bit. Let's talk about that first. So yeah, this draft. I wrote about this week as well. The WWE draft has not been anything of substance, anything of value since 2016. And I say that because look at the people who are being picked up and moved, and you just look at this like this is trash. This year we got three major moves. You got the New Day being split up. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Seth Rollins moving over to SmackDown. Not only did he move over to SmackDown, but so did Buddy Murphy, so did Rey Mysterio, and so did Dominic Mysterio. We're gonna talk about that in a second too, because that was featured on SmackDown tonight. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss were moved over to Raw. That has become one of the more intriguing angles, probably by accident. And again, you're sitting here wondering, when are they gonna fuck it up? Because that tends to be the case with them. When are they gonna fuck it up? But let's see what happens. Well, I won't be talking about that more right now, just like they were on the show on Monday. But everything about this draft felt extremely inconsequential. Guys, like, let's see. Let me pop open because I had it up. Here we go. People like who shouldn't be. All right. Well, actually, I actually is in a bad night one. Night two, you have people like Akira Tozawa, Titus O'Neil, Dabba-Kato in the draft. Like, why? It feels like they're wasting spots in this draft. And it feels completely inconsequential to me. Moving, like, the draft didn't make me want to watch any of the shows more so on Monday or Friday now. I feel like SmackDowns are going to be good, better. I mean, they've been great, but this doesn't make me more excited for them. I was excited for a second when we were getting Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins in the ring together tonight. That has to happen at some point, and that is going to be amazing. But everything else outside of that, you can't see me, but I'm just kind of shrugging, like, whatever. What else? What else? What else you got to offer? Bianca Belair, she's going to be a superstar. I think she's going to be. I don't think Sasha's going to win that title, and I think it's going to be Bianca that takes the belt from her. But at some point in time within the next year, Bianca Belair is going to be a champion. But outside of that, I'm not really sure why this draft is any good. I mean, it needs to really go away for a little while. NXT wasn't involved at all. Now that Wednesday show could have greatly been impacted by maybe moving like three names. I wrote about this. Peyton Royce, they could have moved her. Could have moved They could have counted Ember Moon as a move. They could have moved KO and AJ Styles. Right there, you have four names, 3 to 4 names that would have immediately impacted that show and that in a way that is needed for the Wednesday Night War. That's if they want to chip away more at AEW's numbers, but sometimes it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem that way. And with what we saw during the draft, they just completely ignored them. That's a little bit unfortunate to me, but that's another missed opportunity. So I mentioned the New Day being split, and yeah, tonight they gave a tearful goodbye. And watching that and watching people watch it live via like social media, man, people are hurt. No one wanted to see the New Day split up. No one did. And there's no explanation why this had to occur. There's no reason why it had to occur. When you couple it with the news, in quotes, that WWE wants Big E to take on a more serious type of character and go away from his, I don't want to say go away from the comedy per se. It's like, why? Why? Bob Backlund was comedy. Um, who else was comedy? They were champions. R-Truth was comedy for a while and he got title shots. Um, Kurt Angle, comedy. DX was comedy for a lot of the ways. Um, The Rock, comedy. So why Chris Jericho, comedy? So why do you have to take that away from Big E? I sent in a super chat to the Fightful review show today, and I'm going to say the same thing here. 1 year from now, we're going to wonder where the New Day are and we're going to look back to this day as a moment where everything fucking fell apart for those 3 men, and I hate to say that. You hope that we get that Big E title run that we've been pushing for. You hope we get something good for Kofi and Xavier over on Raw. I have no faith in anyone involved with WWE. No faith whatsoever from a creative standpoint. So we can sit here and talk about seeing what happens, but again, I have no faith in anyone from a WWE creative standpoint and being able to do something adequate with the members of the New Day. NXT was great this week. Again, as usual, Finn Balor's out. He has a broken jaw, so they're trying to play it by ear before they decide what to do with him. I'm glad they're not immediately taking the title off of him. Toni Storm is back. Man, she's fucking thick. Like, Toni Storm is super thick. And I'm a fan of it. I wonder if Vince, I wonder, you know how Vince acts about some of the women and how some of them are placed based off of their looks. But good God, Toni Storm is thick and just fantastic. Like, what's interesting is you hear people talk about her and people call her bland. I think she hasn't gotten the opportunity in WWE that I thought she would have gotten out the gate. I'm actually surprised they ever moved her over to NXT UK. Once she won the Mae Young Classic, I thought she was NXT. I mean, like, to be honest, I figured she would be on the main roster by now. She was involved in the Survivor Series last year, but she was just basically dispatched like it was nothing. So I'm surprised she isn't featured more prominently than not. She was gone for 8 months. Now she's back. Let's see what happens from the NXT standpoint because she has some history with Rhea Ripley. She could be and Io Shirai. So she could be positioned pretty prominently there. Let's see what happens. She has a great look, in my opinion. Whew, boy, she's thick. Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. I think this is going to be funny for a time, but I think people will get tired of it. Just going to go ahead and say that. It's funny. It's hilarious. Like the furry and the fury. Yeah, that shit was hilarious to me. Let's just see. I mean, again, like we keep saying when it comes to pro wrestling, let's see what happens. This is one of those situations where you say, let's see what happens because I don't know where this is going to go. I got a feeling they'll get the straps at some point, at least in NXT. They'll get the straps at some point. Killian Dane should be a monster heel, absolutely destroying people every single week. But maybe we'll get to that through this. That's what I'm hoping. Ricochet, that was Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Again, I'm interested in this storytelling. There's telling a story. Indy has barely been on TV, but she is involved in the story perfectly, where she's helping Candice out, and now Candice is getting another shot at Io Shirai. I think they are going to put that title on Candice. I think Shirai is coming up, and I'm okay with her coming up because I think she would be an interesting foil to Asuka. However, to get that belt off of her, I think Indy Hartwell is going to play a part in that Candice LeRae matchup. Let's talk about other WWE content. Mustafa Ali was not on TV at all this week after last week being outed as the leader of Retribution. It's more stupid WWE shit, but it's just like why? That's me screaming at the top of my lungs, asking why WWE makes some of the decisions that they make. He shouldn't be kept off of TV after a major moment like that. But again, what do I know? I'm just a mark. So we had that. Lana earns a title shot after weeks of being squashed, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. She's not gonna win. I think it would be funny if she did, but she's not. Uh, Let her have her moment. Let her have her moment and let this be funny for a little while. She's not going to, again, like I said, she's not going to win, but let's see what let's see what it plays like. I think it's going to be pretty funny. Ricochet versus the Hurt Business. So they did this angle to get Ricochet away from the Hurt Business, which I'm okay with. I love the tribute to Eddie Guerrero with Ricochet using the ref to get out of it. But what's next? What's next for the Hurt Business? What's next for Ricochet? Hopefully something good because I don't want to see any more of this match. I don't want to see any other foolishness. I just want to see that man do what he does and be awesome doing it. So there's no reason to put for these individuals to be in a ring together again anytime soon. The triple threat. We got a triple threat between Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn. Was it? AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and who was the third? AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy. Was it Sami? Let me popping open my notes. Seth Rollins. I'm sorry. AJ Styles defeated Jeff Hardy and Seth Rollins in a triple threat match. This was great. If you're going to go back and watch a match from this week, go back and watch this. Go back and watch the Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae match from NXT this week. But what we got here was the return of Elias. And this was one time where Kevin Dunn's camera angles fetish worked for everybody. Because Elias returned and smashed that guitar over the back of Jeff Hardy. It was the perfect angle that I couldn't see it coming until you heard the guitar break, but it was fuck if it wasn't great. And I'm glad that Elias is back. I'm glad he's a heel again. He's playing up the gimmick of Jeff Hardy supposedly running him down with the car. I'm not going to argue that. I don't care. They're trying to give us some type of storytelling. So I'm going to watch. Looking forward to that. The last bit of topic today was going to be in reference to the PWI 100. This is the women's PWI 100. They usually did 50, but they're going to do 100 going forward. They actually included women in the PWI 500. I think this is excellent. This is fantastic to see how expansive this grows. But man, this is a hell of a list, and we're going to talk about this. And we give WWE shit for a lot of stuff, and they deserve it. Sometimes they just deserve every bit that we give them. but we have to give them credit for putting together one of the best, for putting together the best women's roster in professional wrestling. The top 5 women are all from WWE, and you don't even need to really guess, or like you know who this list is. Number 1 is Bayley, of course. 2 is Becky Lynch. 3 is Asuka. 4, Charlotte Flair. 5, Sasha Banks. No complaints there. None whatsoever. I made the pitch to move Banks up to 4. Hikaru Shida, who's number 6 right now, I wanted her to be number 5, and then move Charlotte over to number 6. But that's neither here nor there. So Hikaru Shida comes in at 6. 7 is Tessa Blanchard. Okay, fuck her because she's a bigot. 8 is Rio. 9 is Io Shirai, and 10 is Mayu Iwatani. Iwatani is another one who's excellent. Look at all these women of color. And you got in the top 10, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 women of color in the top 10. 7. It's perfect. I'm just going to run through the top 20. We have Rhea Ripley, Jordan Grace, who's another good one. Shayna Baszler, Thunder Rosa, big fan of hers. Kimberly, Nyla Rose, Taya Valkyrie, Kaylee Ray, another good one who I didn't know too much about until recently. Kylie Ray, another good one. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of hers. And then number 20 is Nikki Cross. And it just keeps getting better. Kairi Sane, Britt Baker. I'm just running through some of it. Bianca Belair at 23, Dakota Kai, Allison Kay, Tegan Knox, Alexa Bliss, Mana Watabe, Mercedes Martinez, Gianna Purrazzo at 30. And that's an amazing one, seeing how she started her year and closed it out. That's an because like if you think about this, this is from October 2019 to September 30th, 2020, and Gianna Purrazzo was in WWE up until April. So from April through now, she's done enough work to be slotted number 30 on this list. Imagine what a whole year is going to give her. Candice LeRae's at 34. I think that's kind of low for her. I'm not a fan of Chris Statlander. I don't know, like I'm just not a fan of hers. Let's see who are some others that jump out to me. Big Swole, 39. Nicole Savoy, 40. So I think that's an interesting group there. Those two. Let's see. 45 is Tony Storm. 46 is Shotzi Blackheart. Sue Young is another name that really pops off the page to me. Jamie Hayter is another one I want to learn more about. Penelope Ford over there in AEW is doing her damn thing. Amale, I'm interested in her. I want to see more about her. Natalia, obviously. Alexa Nicole, she's another interesting one. Sonya Deville, she's going to be higher next year. Peyton Royce, she's going to get a big push in WWE. That's coming. Alley Cat is another name that's been popping out to me. She's at 58. Kiera Hogan, she's another one who's really kind of grown on everybody. Naomi at 63. I get it. I get why she's that low. Let's see some other names that stood out to me. Where's my girl? I think Trisha Dora is number 86. Let me flip through here a little bit more. Yep, Trisha Dora is 86. That is one woman right there that everybody needs to keep their eye on. It was funny because I was thinking about her and how she will look in WWE. They need to stay the fuck away from her. Stay the fuck away from Trisha Dora because she's an amazing talent, and I would hate to see her ruined by WWE. Marty Bell's in here too. I'm a big fan of Marty Bell. There she goes. She's at 96. It she's Marty Bell. Um, she's not that great in the ring, but I'm still a fan. I'm gonna mark out for her every time I see her. But PWI 500 or 100 is excellent. I purchased the magazine. Don't be a jerk and try to download it. Purchase it. This is fun. I love these. I love the air and the space these types of debates create. So this is what makes pro wrestling fun sometimes. Talk about topics such as these. But I'm done talking for tonight. I want to again thank you for taking the time to listen to this show. MMA Ratings content can be found on our flagship at MMA Ratings Net. You can catch us on Instagram and Twitter, MMA Ratings Net. Also on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and Breaker. You can catch me at rgarcia_sports. And as always, thank you for taking the time to check out this content. We'll be back next week. Everyone stay safe and have a great weekend.